Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Thank you for tuning in again. I hope you're all doing well, and man, do we have a great story today. So I'm sure as you folks have seen in the news recently, there has been a national effort in a variety of states to try to disqualify Donald Trump from running in the 2024 presidential election. Now, this has gained a lot of momentum. It's gained a lot of steam. Different lawsuits are being filed in different states challenging Donald Trump's candidacy. So this is not just something that, Democrats are talking about and wishing for. It's like, no, people are actually taking action right now to try to disqualify Donald Trump. So today, we're going to talk about a brand new article that came out giving us an update on these things and the states where action is being taken right now. So here it is. State election officials are preparing for efforts to disqualify Trump under the 14th Amendment. New Hampshire, Michigan, and Arizona are bracing for lawsuits. It's happening right now. Efforts to keep Donald Trump off of the 2024 ballot under the 14th Amendment are gaining momentum as election officials in key states are preparing for or even starting to respond to legal challenges to Trump's candidacy. Now, the arguments to disqualify Trump from appearing on primary or general election ballots in 2024 boils down to Section 3 of the United States Constitution's 14th Amendment, which states that an elected official is not eligible to assume public office if that person engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States or had given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof, unless they are granted amnesty by a 2/3 vote of Congress. Now, we think that this is applicable, or many people think it's applicable, due to January 6th, due to Donald Trump's actions on January 6th. We all saw it with our own eyes, right? We saw a mob of pro-Trump supporters march to the Capitol. Donald Trump said he'd be there with them. And we saw these people break through the barriers, beat police officers, break into the Capitol building with the intention to obviously overturn the election, and many people with the intention to take the lives of members of Congress and especially Vice President Mike Pence. And meanwhile, while this was going on, Donald Trump was sitting in the White House doing nothing, right? His advisors were begging him for over 180 minutes while police officers were being beaten 2 miles down the road. They were begging him to put out a statement saying, go home, be peaceful, don't do this, don't raid the Capitol, this is not my intention. But no, Donald Trump sat in silence. And according to key testimony that we all saw during the January 6th committee's public hearings, and even their report, Donald Trump watched it on the TV, and he was happy about it. People were claiming, hang Mike Pence, and Donald Trump reportedly said, maybe he deserves it, right? So we all saw what happened on January 6th with our own eyes, and people, including myself, believe that, that day and his actions on that day apply to Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. I personally believe that Donald Trump did engage in insurrection and rebellion against the United States. But even if you don't agree with that, I think we can all agree that he certainly gave aid and comfort to these people and the insurrection and the efforts by these people. I mean, he sat there for 183 minutes. He didn't try to stop it. He did nothing to try to stop it. Is that a president? Is that what a president does? No, absolutely not. Anyway, several advocacy groups have said that Trump's actions on January 6th fit that criteria, that he directly engaged in insurrection. The legal theory has been pursued against members of Congress and other Republicans, but it hasn't been successful thus far. Now, of course, Trump has denied any involvement in the Capitol attack, putting out unhinged statements like this, which is very difficult to read even because it's just a bunch of word salad, right? But recently, this theory to disqualify Trump has gained more traction because, as I said, it's not just liberals and Democrats saying this. No, it's actually conservative scholars from the right, people who are notoriously, conservative in their legal opinions or even Republicans in their political opinions. The push to disqualify Trump under this constitutional clause gained more traction when two members of the Conservative Federalist Society, the Federalist Society who has been pushing conservative judges and members of the judiciary for years now, when two members of the Conservative Federalist Society, William Bade and Michael Stokes Paulson, recently supported the idea in the pages of the Pennsylvania Law Review. Following the Bade and Paulson article, retired conservative federal appeals judge Michael Luttig and Harvard law professor emeritus Lawrence Tribe made the same argument in The Atlantic. Now, you might remember Michael Luttig as the retired conservative judge who testified in front of the January 6th committee. But this guy's no liberal. This guy is not putting on his Biden hat when he wakes up in the morning. This is a conservative judge who has, obviously has a history as a judge and clearly very conservative, right? So again, not just Democrats, not just Republicans, it's both, actually, legal scholars from both sides of the aisle. Now, threats of filings against Trump under this clause are gaining steam in a number of states, including New Hampshire and Arizona. And in Michigan, a lawsuit to disqualify Trump was filed on Monday. That is last Monday, not September 4th. Secretaries of state say they have started to take steps to prepare for the possibility of administering elections without Donald Trump on the ballot. Now, that's serious stuff. You might hear from the Republicans that, it's hopeless, this isn't going to happen, and maybe it won't. But the fact that people are even having to talk about it, secretaries of state are having to make those preparations, tells you that this is no joke. This is not just the liberals or the far, left people trying to disqualify Trump from running. No, it's far deeper than that, right? It's far deeper than that. And so, for example, in an interview with ABC News, Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson said that she and other secretaries of state from Pennsylvania, Georgia, Nevada, New Hampshire, and Maine, a bunch of states right there, started having conversations over a year ago about preparing for the legal challenges to Trump's candidacy, right? So a year ago. I mean, this has been a thought in people's minds for a while, but now action is actually being taken. As we saw, there's a lawsuit in Michigan. And I personally believe it should be successful. We'll see how it actually goes, but that's yet to be seen. Also, I think that Donald Trump is absolutely concerned about this possibility. He tries to put on this macho demeanor, but we all see right through it. And the reason I say that Donald Trump is concerned about this possibility is because he addressed it on Truth Social today in a new unhinged statement. So here's that statement. And again, it's the usual Trump garbage, right? It just doesn't make much sense. It's not based on fact. It's kind of just based on, what's in Donald Trump's mind that day. But he said, almost all legal scholars have voiced opinions that the 14th Amendment has no legal basis or standing relative to the upcoming 2024 presidential election. Now, we know that's false because we just looked at that ABC article, and there are a number of conservative legal scholars saying that the 14th Amendment actually has a whole lot of basis for this upcoming election. But anyway, he calls it election interference, saying it's just another trick being used by the radical left, communists, Marxists, and fascists. He just loves to throw words in there, right? Just throw all the buzzwords in there to try to rile up his base. And I won't even go over how absurd it is, but anyway. To again steal an election that their candidate, the worst, most incompetent, and most corrupt president in U.S. history, he's saying Joe Biden is those things, is incapable of winning in a free and fair election. And I always find it funny when Republicans say that Joe Biden's not able to win an election against Donald Trump because were they here for 2020? Like, does Donald Trump know that Joe Biden is his president? I would love to hear that on record. I would love to hear Donald Trump say, yeah, Joe Biden's my president. It is the truth. He never will. But, Joe Biden beat Donald Trump once in 2020. I don't think anybody's concerned about him beating him again. But I mean, this statement's just garbage. And I think that, when we see Donald Trump go on these unhinged rants, it's not for no reason. Like, he's never really screaming about things that he's not scared about or he's not thinking about or that don't actually pose a risk to him. And so the fact that he's even having to address it shows you the strength of the arguments that are being made and, quite frankly, the possibility that Donald Trump may be disqualified. We don't know how likely or unlikely it is yet because it's still a very new legal theory and it's still kind of being played out in courts. But, I mean, look, Trump's screaming about it, so he's worried. So, folks, that's pretty much what's going on with this disqualification theory against Donald Trump. It's still being tested in courts, but I think it should be successful. I mean, as I said earlier, we all saw what happened on January 6th. There's an entire January 6th committee report. It's over 800 pages. Donald Trump has now been indicted for his actions on January 6th and the days leading up to it. Again, this is evidence and testimony coming from majority Republicans who were in the room with Donald Trump or knew people close to Donald Trump and heard all this chatter. And I want to make something clear that contrary to what Donald Trump may say or what the MAGA Republicans may say, this is not Democrats trying to, eliminate their political opponent, or they're scared of Donald Trump. It's like, no. Democrats are the party of law and order. Clearly, right? We just want to follow the law. And if Donald Trump is in a clear violation of the Constitution of the United States, we should take action there. Secretaries of State should take action there, right? It has nothing to do with politics. Nothing. I think this statute should apply to a lot of people. A lot of people. And, especially members of Congress, those ones who asked for pardons. I wonder why they were asking for pardons, right? But I think this Section 3 of the 14th Amendment is absolutely applicable. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump being a former president of the United States. It has nothing to do with him running in 2024. I would believe this, and many others would believe this, even if he weren't running. Even if he weren't. Action needs to be taken. The law needs to be upheld. And I really hate this idea that people should be scared of enforcing it and following our Constitution when it's so clear just because Donald Trump is running for president. So I think the effort should be successful. We'll have to see what happens in court. Donald Trump is facing a variety of legal challenges right now, especially ones that are possibly putting him in prison for the rest of his life. So anyway, a lot happening in the future. We'll just have to kind of sit patient and see how these things play out. But I appreciate you guys watching the video today, tuning in once again. It means a lot. If you could like the video and subscribe, that would also mean a lot. As I said, I'm going to try to post more videos on this channel and be more consistent here because I do enjoy making long-form content. And this is fun. It's a good time. So thank you guys for watching. I hope to be back soon. Hope to speak with you soon. As you know, my social media is harryjsisson on all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, all that good stuff. So yeah, that's it. I'll see you folks around.